Clint Bowyer wins for the 5th time in his NASCAR Sprint Cup Series career. He wins for the 2nd time here at Talladega. And Clint, take us through that final part of that lap when you made the move, got past Burton, and got to the checkered flag.
Yeah, I mean, the last lap, really, to tell you the truth, going down the back straightaway, I wasn't even looking at him. I already felt bad for him. I knew that we had a 12, 14 car lead, and I was looking in the mirror. I was waiting for smoke to fly, and the instant that smoke flew, I was going to try to make a move then and get ahead of him maybe before the caution come out. But that's kind of what was on your mind. We had a moment. He told me, he goes, I bet you're thinking where you're going to pass him in the front straightaway, and I was chuckling in the back straightaway. That's exactly what I was thinking. He kind of moved up off of 4, and I felt like I knew that it was too early to go, but it was going to be a drag race, and it'd give us both a shot at it, and I felt like it did. He works so well with me all day long. You hate that it comes down to that, but it is what it is, and you owe it to your team, you owe it to your sponsors to go out and win the race, and unfortunately it came down to that situation, but trust me, I was prepared to push him to the win, no matter what the cost was, if we'd have had people breathing down our necks too. So just wasn't meant to be for him. He's been a great teammate, and learned a lot from him, and he's already won a lot of races. I'm not even close to. I think he's won like 20-some races. I've only won 5. He'll be all right. Well,
this win today also gets you in next year's Sprint All-Star race.
Yeah, I want to thank Richard for helping me out next year. That's a big race for us. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Shane. It's just so important to me to be able to cap off such a good relationship with Richard, everybody at RCR. It's like family over there, and it meant a lot to me to be able to win, again before we end this deal. It was the stars were lined up today with having the 100th anniversary of Chevrolet on the race car. If I won the race, it was going to be Richard's 100th win. It's just too many things that were meant to be for it not to be. So I'm excited that it was.
Thank you, Clint. Crew Chief Shane Wilson, talk about the victory here today.
It just means a lot for our team. We work so hard, and I mean everyone in the garage works hard. But if you're we're a team that we expect to win. We expected to be in the chase. So it's good to get the win, and it's big for our team. All the guys work so hard, and everyone. We've been so close this year and let it slip away. So it's nice to seal the deal.
Richard, congratulations not only on today's win, but also the 100th win for your race team, racing organization. Talk about the win here today, but also talk about 100 wins as a team owner.
Yeah, it was a great win. Once I seen the gap they had, Clint and Jeff had, I knew there was going to be a move, and they did what they were supposed to. All of us hate it for Jeff, but when you're in this business, you got to do what you got to do for yourself and the team. And I just knew they don't wreck each other. But I was really proud of RCR cars all day. These fans pay a lot of money, and I hate it for Kevin, but he did what he was supposed to be doing. We were sitting there racing. All of our RCR cars race to give these fans a show. We didn't sit in the back and ride and wait till the last minute. Our cars ran all day long. That's what we get paid for. We don't get paid to ride in the back. I'm proud of every one of them, and I'm proud today of Clint getting this win. And Clint, by the way, thanks for getting us on Winter Circle next year.
Okay, let's take questions now. I think we'll start with Ed, and then we'll come over here to Mike, and then Tom.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com for Richard. Could you reflect sort of in two ways on 100 wins? One, back in 30-plus years ago when you were an independent driver, you used to talk about plowing your money back into the operation, and you were going to put somebody in the car and make something out of that team. Can you talk about whether back then in your wildest dreams you expected to win 100 races? And then part B, can you talk about winning this 100th one with a guy who everybody thought y'all were going to kind of half bake it on, or was afraid y'all were going to kind of half bake it on the rest of this season when he's leaving, and yet getting that win with a guy even when he's leaving?
Yeah, Ed, I didn't think you could remember as much as you drank that time on Texas, me telling him stories. But anyway, yeah, it all started for RCR here. It all started for RCR here in 1969. And it's great to come back to the same place that I really got my big break, was here in 1969 when they boycotted. And I went ahead and ran the race, and I got money on Saturday and got money on Sunday and got deal money from Mr. France Sr. and more money I'd ever seen in my life. And we ended up going back, building a shop, and starting racing. So that was a big break for me in Talladega. And today, to get our 100th win with Clint, only in America could a kid with a $20 race car do what I've been able, myself and my people working with me, do. And it all started with an old $20 race car and a dream.
Where was the first win?
Riverside, California, with Ricky Rudd, 1983.
Let's go here to Mike and then to Tom. Go ahead, Mike. Mike Embry, right here.
Mike Embry, Speed.com. Clint, what was the key in you and Jeff moving away from everybody else so quick those last couple laps?
Well, we talked right before the race, right after the driver's meeting. We talked and just had a game plan of what we wanted to do, what we felt like we had filled out in years past, and what we were strong at and what we were needed to improve on. And one of those was the restarts, being able to bunch up and get together, make that connection before the rest of them, and get up through the gearbox better than the rest. And I think that's what ultimately won us the race. We were able to do that on virtually every restart. And I was really, really worried. You're looking in the mirror. I know that I got to let him down, and then get back together. I knew that the Red Bull cars were already going to be together as soon as the rag dropped. 27 and 14 they'd formed a partnership, and I didn't think that never in a million years we'd come off a 2 with the lead, but it was as luck could have it. And I'm telling you, luck has a lot to do with these races. It always does. Right at the split second that I touched his bumper, one of the Red Bull cars hit me in the butt, and it just launched us out there, and the rest was history. I was able to get right up through the gearbox and shove him as hard as I could, and it got us away. And at that split second, They came to a halt and split up, and we're racing 2 and 3 wide, and we were able to just drive off on the sunset.
Go ahead, Tom.
Tom Jensen, Speed.com. This is for Richard. Congratulations, guys. Big win today. Richard, you've won a lot of races here. I think you've won 12 races here with a variety of different guys dating back to Dale. Why are you guys so good as a team here, and why are you always one of the cars to beat here?
I think I don't know. We just got great people working for us, and we plan for this. We work hard for the restrictor plate races. We've been Daytona. We had some good shots to win there, and we've won there and racing here. And I think it goes back to some of the philosophy that Dale and I planned many years ago, and we still use that same philosophy, and that's race as hard as you can and run up front all day.
Any questions in the press box?
No questions in the press box.
Nothing right now. Let's come back down here to Don. Go ahead.
Clint, Don Culver with Morris News Service, which, by the way, includes Topeka. We've already had to give Rick Peterson the CPR.
Good.
So, anyway, when you make that move coming off of Ford, coming down through the tri-over there, did you have a little sense of relief knowing that it was Jeff and that you weren't going to be on your roof like Carl a couple of years ago, that he was going to race you hard, but it was going to be clean?
No, and I was going to make sure that it was clean. I wasn't going to put him in a situation where we were going to wreck us. We've been through too much. I'm telling you, a ton of respect for Jeff Burton. It was important for me. There was going to be a shot. He was still going to have a shot at it. If you'd have waited till the tri-oval and snookered him at the end, there wasn't going to be any shot at it. You'd have been able to, pull right by him, and the rest would have been history. It was starting to move that early was going to enable him to have a shot at it. I knew we were way, way far ahead, and there was no way that anybody was going to catch us, and it was going to be a drag race to the end, and it pretty much was. So I'm glad that it worked out. It was probably a pretty risky move on my part, but like I said, he wasn't expecting it. I know he was expecting for me to wait for the tri-oval because we've talked about it, and I felt like it was an opportunity to catch him off guard, and it did, but it about bit me in the butt too.
And for Richard, you've been, you don't, like you've already talked today. You don't like to sit back. How disappointed would you have been if Clint if those two had been that far out and they just decided to ride, how disappointed would you have been in him if he hadn't tried?
None.
I would. I knew going down the backstretch. Once I seen they had the lead they had, I knew that he was going to. And I just told when Paul was racing with a 14, I told him, on the radio, I said, win the race. You can't just push somebody. You got to go up there and try to win the race. And he did just what I told Paul to do. And that's what you're in this business for, is to race hard, put on a show for the fans.
Other questions? Bob Pockris, get the mic there to him, please.
Bob Pockris, SingDaily.com. Clint, did you ever think about riding in the back? Like in any of your meetings, did you guys ever talk about, hey, maybe we should? Or is that just not even a thought?
No, and I think, two things. First and foremost, I think Richard's right. I think these fans pay a ton of money to come watch these races, and we owe it to them to put a show on from, rag to rag. And the second thing is, I think it's great practice. We don't get a lot of practice. It used to be, you come to these tracks and you have tons of practice and working the draft and working on cowling, working on air cleaners and so many different things to see if your car would pull up to the next car better or worse, and headers and all sorts of stuff. Now you got what you got. You come here and you run 3 or 4 laps in practice, and as long as nothing falls off the thing and you're not just completely slow, you go on to the race. And so I feel like it gives you an advantage being able to race up there, slice and dice all race long for when the time's right. You're not caught off guard, and you don't go up there and make a mistake. And unfortunately, I don't mean to say anything bad, but when those guys come up there on that one run, I looked in the mirror and I knew they were going to wreck, and they did. It just puts you in a situation that's unfamiliar territory, and they wreck every time. It happens every single time.
Bob, and then we'll go to Mike.
And for Richard, what were you thinking when Harvick was told he had to go to the garage to fix the smoke, and what do you think of his championship chances being 26 points out with 4 to go?
Yeah, I mean, we're not done. I told him a while ago, don't stick a fork in a shit. We're definitely not done. We're going to race, try to do a deal and take no prisoners and just race as hard as we can. And, it was unfortunate that Kevin got in that crash, but he was doing what we all talked about doing, was running up front, and it just happened he got hung up in it. And, it may have cost us a championship. We may have been able to ride in the back and wait it out, but that wasn't what Kevin wanted to do. We had all of our sponsors here today, and that just wasn't what we wanted to do. And it may bite us, but I'm proud of him getting the car fixed anyway.
Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Mulhern.net. This is for RC. There was a lot made about Ford didn't want to work with Chevrolets, and I guess there was something with the 24 and the 21 later on. The 27 was working with the 14. Did you tell him to back up because you got the points? And is there something about the points deal that makes Talladega just a little bit easier or a little more difficult for a car owner to have to deal with if he's got a lot of teams?
No, not really. Actually, all of the teams know they're supposed to come here and try to win a race, but we'll never wreck each other, and they know that. But I went on Paul's radio and told him to go up there and push Tony, try to win the race. I wanted him to try to win the race, but I also wanted him to push Tony, and that was just the way it was. He knew what he was going to do, and if it came down to the end, he would have tried to have made a move like Clint made on Jeff.
Would you have gone with a Ford, too, if you'd had a chance, or is there too much going on?
I know the answer to that. No, he wouldn't have opted for that option. No.
We're going to help Chevy win, try to win. I've been Chevy all my life. We've been GM for 40-some years, I think 45 years now, and it's kind of hard to change an old dog.
Other questions? Well, congratulations to the number 33 team, Clint Bowyer, Shane Wilson. Congratulations to Richard Childress Racing.